Hey, it is fall and I'm going to make some Italian bread. The weather is nice and cool, that's when I like to make bread. So real quickly I'm going to show you the stuff you need to make a real nice Italian bread. So you're going to need two types of flour. I use this all-purpose, unbleached all-purpose flour. Okay, I use about 3 or 4 cups of that. And then I use a little bit of bread flour. Just bread flour, that's it. This is finer than this. I found this combination to work really well. Okay, you're going to need one of these here, which is a candy thermometer, but we're looking for hitting a temperature range between 110 and 120. That's for hot water, make the yeast happy. Measuring cup for the water. You need measuring cups for the flour, and I use this knife here. This is important because you put the flour in here and you shake it like this, and then you scrape off the flour. You get a perfect cup. You need some sugar and some honey and some extra virgin olive oil, and you need one of these little shakers. This is a flour shaker. You put this on here, and you can nicely shake this on your board. And this is a separate board I have just for making dough because it's a nice big chunk of wood that I can knead my dough on. And you're going to need yeast. You can use packages of yeast or just dry yeast like this here. Salt, very, very important. I made it one time and forgot salt and it tasted horrible. Very important ingredients. You want these things here so you can, as you're doing the dough, you can scrape like this. And you can use anything for that. Just something with a nice straight edge. And cornmeal. You need cornmeal on here. When you get to the point of baking, you're going to put some cornmeal on top and on the actually cookie sheet. You need a big bowl like this here. You can start your yeast mix and start your dough mix. And that's it for now. I'll come back later. All right, to get your 2.5 cups of hot water just right, I use hot tap water as hot as it can go, and put it in the microwave for about a minute just to get it a little hotter. Go. Okay, so I have my water here. I heat up the water to about 120, and while it's at 120, we want to get between 110 and 115 for perfect happy yeast. So while it's going to be up above 120, when it's above 120, I'm going to put the honey and the sugar in there. So we're going to do two teaspoons of sugar. And then we're going to do some honey. About that much. And we'll get the honey in. It's never going to come off the spoon like this, so you just keep going, and the hot water will take it off. And while that's sitting there, you're going to spin your bowl around and mix up this hot water until all the sugar and the yeast and the sugar and the honey actually dissolve completely. That's good, there's no granules of sugar down there. Now we have sugar honey water. And then we're going to put the yeast in. And that makes for a very happy yeast. Okay, so we're going to do 4.5 teaspoons of yeast. This is just a dry yeast. You can get packaged yeast as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4.5. I think that's a half. Yep. 4.5. Okay, we're just going to let that sit there like that. And it's going to get kind of foamy and brown and poofy. And, when it gets to that point, I'm going to mix it in really good and let it sit. And then we're going to start adding the flour. Alright, so I just finished mixing this with the fork and getting everything blended together, letting it sit a little longer. If you look closely, you'll start to see some bubbles forming there. Okay, that's looking good. It's ready to add in flour. Okay, alright, so the yeast is ready. It's been, I've taken the sugar and the honey and the warm water, mixed that in until it was dissolved, added the yeast, and now the yeast is sat for about 3 to 4 minutes. And here I have 2 cups of bread flour. I'm going to slowly pour that in here and mix it in with all the water, yeast, sugar, honey mixture. And it is a very important thing, you can't forget the salt. We're going to put the salt in a minute. I want to mix the bread in with this yeast water here, and then let that sit for about a minute, and then start adding my regular flour, and then add salt. We're going to add a tablespoon of salt. That's it. I'll go ahead and mix this, and we'll come back later. Okay, so I have finished putting all the flour in here, and I mixed it with the yeast, and right now I'm just mixing with a fork. You're getting it all mixed together. And then you're going to switch to doing this by hand. Make sure it's getting all mixed in real nice, because we want the yeast and the salt to get well mixed before we really start kneading.
Too bad you don't have smell-o-vision. Smells good, nice and yeasty.
That is my wife's commentary. It does. I love the smell of bread. It's nasty yeast, that's the smell. So when it gets to this point here, you take this, you just start getting it mixed together by hand. You feel nice and fluffy. It shouldn't be really sticky at this point. It should be dry. We're going to be adding olive oil as we start kneading. It'll get sticky again and then dry again until you can get it just right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and dump this out here. Now we have a nice blob of loveliness there, and then this here is this little flour shaker thing. It's great. So you put it on there, and you're going to start kneading this dough until you start getting everything pulled together. I'm going to have a little olive oil with me here, and I'm going to keep adding olive oil to my hands. I'll just put some in my palm, and I'll add it and mix it and start kneading it. And that's it. I'll come back as I get farther along. And if your hands get sticky like this, don't worry about it. It'll get dry and come off eventually. You're going to be adding flour as you go. Okay, so I finished the first process of getting the flour and the water and the yeast all mixed up into a nice little ball. And you just sit it there, sit on the table for just maybe 5 minutes or so. It's not really doing a lot of rising, but you're just letting it rest after you do the initial mix. And we're going to start kneading the dough. And you need some olive oil and a little shaker of flour to help you as you knead. And one of these little things here so you can scrape off your chopping board. Okay, I've been kneading just for a few minutes, and just wanted to show you how I add the olive oil in there. And as I knead, you just turn, fold, turn, fold, turn, fold, turn, fold. And I'll go ahead and put just a little bit of olive oil in here. Not that much. Just rub your hands on there and try to get the olive oil throughout all the surface of the dough, so then you can mix it in really good. Right now that dough it's getting there. It's not bouncing all the way back, but it's got a nice texture to it. Turn, fold, push, turn, fold, push. Give it some muscle so you're pushing down almost to your palm is touching the table. Get one hand over the other so you get extra push. Okay. So I've been kneading about 15, maybe 20 minutes. And the dough is getting pretty good now. As you're kneading, you want to get in there. Get your whole body into it. And take some effort to get a nice texture. This dough is actually coming out really quite perfect. This is just the ending part here. You keep pulling towards the center and pushing down. That's all you're doing. Okay, so come close to your, it's beautiful. So you make a nice ball by tucking underneath. That texture right there is absolutely perfect. Okay?
Do that again.
Alright.
I got a nice close-up.
You should
Wait,
push
do it
it.
in one spot so I can, it's not, hold on.
You should push it down and then it'll come all the way back out. Like
Okay, now do it right where you did it.
okay? It's like rubber. Okay? Now we're going to do here a nice bowl, big bowl, and pour some olive oil onto a napkin. And you're going to rub the inside of the bowl. Get the sides really good. Take a nice dough ball, upside down. You roll it around the olive oil. Flip it over.
Oh my gosh.
Austin, quiet. I'm going to edit that. Okay, get like this here. Beautiful. Okay, so we take that there and then we have a damp, dirty cloth put it on top here.
Stained, it's not dirty.
Stained. Alright, then this is going to go into an oven and we're going to put a lasagna pan of water in the oven and heat, we're going to, actually it's boiled. You boil the water and you're going to pour that boiled water into the lasagna pan, put that in the bottom of the oven so the oven is moist and warm while this is rising for about an hour to an hour and a half. This dough ball here should double in size. When we're done, we should have a good double of what we have there. And then we'll go from there. Okay, here's the bread after the second rise. At this point here, I'm going to take that dough out. I'm going to divide it into 2 loaves of bread, put it on a cookie sheet, and then it will rise one more time before baking. There it is. Lovely, smelling great. Okay, so after the second rise, I have taken the dough and divided it into 2 loaves like you see here. I have the egg wash, which is egg whites and water. I'm going to brush the loaves and put some cuts on the top of the dough. And then it's going to rise in the oven just like that on the cookie sheet for about 45 minutes. And on the cookie sheet itself, I put on spray oil and then some cornmeal on top of that. And that would be this yellow cornmeal right there. Alright. Forgot to mention you need a brush like this here to brush the egg whites onto the bread. Okay, so this is the final stage of the dough and preparing the loaves for cooking. So what I have here is I went ahead and I put slices on the top of the bread just with a regular steak knife. And then before that I did the egg wash, which is egg whites and water mixed together, brushed with a brush. And then on top I put some yellow cornmeal. And this is going to go in here. If you look over here, I have the oven and I got some boiling water over here. That's going to go into this lasagna dish here. And that's going to add a little moisture and warmth to our oven. I'm going to take these here. You want to be careful with these loaves at this point because they're going to be rising, and that's your final shape that the bread is going to cook as. This here. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and slowly close that, and we'll let that sit for About 45 minutes. Okay, so here are the loaves of bread after they sat in the oven to rise for a third time. You can see they almost doubled in size again. That's a really nice size for a loaf. Right now I'm preheating the oven to 375. They're going to bake soon. And when you put your slices in there, you make sure you don't slice too close to the edge. This one's okay. This one here, see the right side kind of fell to the right there. It's because I sliced it a little too close to the edge. So your slices are they're really decorative. They add some texture. You get used to doing those slices every now and then. They're weird. That's alright. It is still going to taste great. It smells so good.
Are you going to say anything? Or is this
Yeah,
just a movie?
I'm going to talk.
Oh, well, this is moving.
You're moving? Okay, so I just took this out of the oven. I'm baking for 20 minutes. I take it out and I brush it with more egg whites. This is called the egg wash. And this gives you that nice crunchy crust on the outside while it's nice and soft on the inside. And this here is going to go back into the oven for another 20 minutes. And when I put them back in, I switch racks. The one that was on top goes on the bottom and vice versa. So I will be back. Oh, and then I will put on here a little bit more cornmeal. Just right on the top, like so. And not only will I change reverse rack heights, I'm going to rotate because one side is getting hotter than the other here. So if you look in here, the way I do this is I'll put one down here and then one over here. Okay, that's it. Okay, finally the bread is ready. It's cooked. Smells great. Has a nice crust. Nice hard crust with it's going to be soft on the inside. And it's glorious. It's just a wonderful thing. Now, the hard part is you really want to wait to dive into this and cut it up because I'm already getting yelled at because people want to eat it and I gotta let it cool before I cut it. So we're letting it cool. There is the amazing Italian bread that is just delicious. Alright, bread is ready. Actually, it should wait a little longer, but nobody can wait, so I'm cutting it. It smells great. Has a very nice crust on it. Has a beautiful texture on the inside. Nice and soft on the inside, nice hard crust on the outside. So when you let it cool off, it slices a lot easier. Right now, because it's still hot, it doesn't slice as good, but it's not that bad. Oh yeah, that's just gorgeous. There it is, beautiful, nice texture. Nice and soft on the inside. That's perfect. That bread